Hello. So today is September the 11th. Hopefully, you did well on your test yesterday. Remember that you have unlimited tries on every assignment while they are open. So, we're going to take a look at September 11th. It is today. This video will be placed right here, and then you'll have a joke of the day and a Zig Ziglar quote. Now, we're going to do one-step equations today, and I want you to try to do these by writing them on paper if possible. They are very easy problems, but I really would like you to do them on paper first. So let's take a look at today's lesson.
Hello, today we're going to start a new unit. We're going to take a look at equations. Now this equation here, the easiest way to do equations is to rewrite them. Have a piece of paper next to you and rewrite them. So even though it's right there on your screen, these are easy one-step equations where you only have to do one thing. But as we go forward, they'll go from one step to two step to three step to four step. And you'll want to start doing these problems the same way. So starting now, if you start practicing them this way, when we switch into more difficult problems, they will become easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write on a separate sheet of paper, v minus 10 equals negative 9. And I'm going to solve this by doing what's called an inverse operation. The word inverse means opposite. Because it says minus 10 here, I'm actually going to add 10 to both sides of the equal sign. It's really important that you understand that I'm doing this to both sides of the equal sign. So what ultimately happens is these 10s will cancel each other out. And the v drops down. Equal sign drops down. Then I got to do negative 9 plus 10. If you're not very good with negative numbers, go ahead and take the time to open up Desmo's Scientific Calculator and use that. So you would just type in negative 9 plus 10. You'll find that it equals 1. And so for this, I'd put 1. Then I would go over to Canvas and I would type in, it says v equals, and then it says enter just a number. So the only thing I would put here is the number 1. Question 2. These are all very similar. So again, it's going to be, we're going to start out, we're kind of doing the opposite operation or inverse operation. You'll hear me say the word inverse a lot. So first thing I'm going to do is rewrite the problem. X divided by 5. Fractions or division equals 2. So if I'm dividing by 5, to do the opposite, I'd have to multiply by 5. And I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. What ultimately happens is the 5's cancel, x drops down by itself, and it equals 2 times 5. You can use a calculator if you want, but 2 times 5 is 10. And so x equals 10. And so it says enter just the number. So I'm going to type in 10. And then we have this type of problem where we have 22 equals negative 11k. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to write the problem down. 22 equals negative 11k. Now you don't have to do this part, but I always like to have my variable or my letter on the left side. So I'm going to change this to where it becomes negative 11k equals 22. I'm just going to switch what's on the right side to the left side, what's on the left side to the right side. So this means negative 11 times k. Well, I'm going to do the inverse operation, which means that I'm going to do divide by negative 11. And I'm going to do it on both sides of the equal sign. Divide by negative 11. And so what ultimately happens is these will cancel out. You're left with k. And then 22 divided by negative 11 is actually just negative 2. If you're not confident about that, you can check it with the calculator. Negative 22 divided by negative 11. And it equals negative 2. See, negative 2. And so then I enter in here negative 2. Do not put a space between the negative sign and the number 2. The next question says b plus 7 equals negative 1. And so since it says plus 7, I'm going to undo that by subtracting 7 on both sides of the equal sign. And so, as you've probably figured out by now, these cancel out, b drops down, equal sign drops down. Negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. But again, you can use a calculator if you're not confident in your ability. So negative 1 minus 7 equals negative 8. So I'll put negative 8 as my answer. It's really important that you actually take a piece of paper and write these problems down, because while right now these are very easy to do and many of you could probably do these in your head, as we get into harder problems, you'll want to get in the habit of writing down the problems.